right. Well, here we are in December 2022. And I guess you first invested, what, about 6 months ago? Something like that?
Yeah, it was about 6 months ago. That was the first investment. And then I kind of been keeping in touch with Ken and, just kind of getting some more information. And then another investment about maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month ago. I don't know. I lose track of time easily. And then we got this most recent one. So I just got the signed document and ready to make that next investment. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, it's amazing that, we know this, that investors tend to reinvest because, once they're in Ken's hands, it's over.
Right. He's a good salesman. Hey.
Yeah. But, what I like about Ken is that, he addresses it from a real pragmatic business point of view. He's an investor like you and me, he understands what's going on out there, how few opportunities we do have these days. I was in an ETF, oil and gas ETF, and I bailed. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't predict. It's not so much that it's going down or up. I can't predict it. It's like,
yeah, things used to be a little more predictable before, cycles, and now it's just random chaos, basically.
And very geopolitical. So, if you have an insight on Nancy Pelosi's trading account, you're in good shape. Otherwise,
right? Yeah, and since I'm not, yeah,
right. But so what when you first, I think you responded to one of our offerings through Manhattan Street Capital. What first attracted you to the idea of OriginClear?
So the first thing that I just kind of noticed is, it was actually you that was on the little, the ad that I saw. And I just thought, that looks interesting. Like, I looked at water stocks in the past and, just didn't really see anything that really sparked my interest. It was kind of like, it's just another stock. But this just looked like it offered something different. So I wanted to research a little bit more. So I started looking into it and seeing, how is this different from, the big water companies that are out there? And basically what I found is that, well, you're not the water company.
Right.
You're the one trying to fix the water companies. And I was like, that's probably a great idea because, I tend to watch some of these documentaries about, water supply and this and, how our water's polluted and, the quote truth about, how our water gets polluted. And I was like, I think this company has got something here. So that was my initial reason for looking into OriginClear.
Wow. Well, yes. And what's interesting is that we're constantly refining the vision. As you know, we're most recent developments, which at the time of this recording, we can't really discuss where things might be going. But right. We keep like going, oh, wow. Almost like broken field running, right? Oh, there's a hole. Boom, 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 right? And I think that it's just a matter of being willing to constantly reinvent. Like, don't get complacent. Like, well, we got the $1 billion contract. We're good now for a couple of years. First of all, we don't have $1 billion contracts, but it makes sense that as an interloper, we would question the way things are and then try to find, what moves the needle, so to speak. So let me ask you, just as a general allocation, how are you invested in general, just as percentages of what to what? Not just
yeah, so I would say I probably have right now, I'm probably about 40 to 50% asset classes, so OriginClear, some, I don't want to say strip mall investments, but basically like grocery centered investments. So somewhat real estate, probably about 30% or so, my own personal IRA, and then some in like stocks and, little things here and there. So, but I think over the last couple of years, especially, I've gone from, I have my IRA, which is good because I do need that. I'm hopeful, years from now, it'll look a little better than it does now, like most people. But I think with the asset class, I think that's the biggest opportunity. And that's really where I've turned my focus in the last couple of years, because, it's not just, it's not like, hey, let's invest in this startup company. Like you guys have been around, and other ones that I've invested in. Like I see what their vision is. And I think if, as an investor, if you see that vision and you agree with it, then that's what you should invest in. It shouldn't just be, well, yeah, I heard this might be pretty good, so I'll just throw some money into it. Like you have to believe in their vision as well. So,
yeah. Plus, the stuff you hear has been fed into the media, ecosystem. Oh, I somehow heard it. Yeah, that was actually planted by a good PR agency, right?
right, right.
But yeah, I mean, one of the things is that, we've been doing this for a long time, probably too long. But by the same token, you're right that we've got a tremendous amount of perspective. We have an idea of what not to do. And which I think, it reduces risk. We're less likely to do something stupid. Like, for example, early on, we used to go in California, we used to go after all these grants. Well, if you don't have a good lobbyist in Sacramento, good luck, right?
Right.
So but the problem is these big grants, $5 million, $10 million, they would take all the air out of the room, and it's all people would obsess with. I'm like, I finally had to ban these things because, everybody would make that their holy grail. And so we learned that to just not go after these, home runs, because they tend to, lose, really lose the focus. The other thing we learned, of course, and is that I think the most precious asset you have is your long-term investors, right? And one of the things that we did that was very productive in 2018 going to 2019, we were very innovative in finding ways. Most startups, they go through all this dilution and the ski slope stock price, and the early investors get crammed. It's very painful. And so we figured out an innovative way, which wonder of wonders, legal signed off on, to basically, hit rewind. And if people would commit to more, then we would rescue their original investment and then protect the whole thing the way your investment's relatively protected, meaning that it converts at a later price, whatever that price is.
Right.
So that just, people loved us, but they were also like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? They felt very disappointed. Today we have, I think, a very strong base of really all investors who were like, okay, we're going to be good. This obviously it's going to be it's going to take however long it takes, but we're going to be good. And probably that's the thing I'm most proud of, because I regardless of whether it was quote unquote legal to dilute everybody and hurt them in the end, it wasn't really very moral, right?
Right. Yeah. But and I think people have gotten so used to, especially in the last couple of years, kind of these fast moving, like you're going to make $1 million because you had the market going crazy. You had all the crypto going crazy. I mean, I know when I was, because I do have my own personal stocks, and, I've also fallen into that, I'm invested in this startup, and now it's 3 years in, and I was like, okay, it's apparently still starting, but I also understand the market conditions are a big factor. But like you look at the beginning of 2021, and the market was going crazy, and everybody's like, holy cow, everybody's going to be rich, and then you weren't, because everything just it's like you went up to the top of the ski slope, and now you're at the bottom of it, or you're in the air right now, wondering where you're going to land, which is, I think, most people. So yeah, I mean, you have to look at those long-term investments, and that's typically how I think investing used to be, and then we got away from that, because that's how I was. Like I started putting into my 401k with my first quote real job when I was 22, 23 years old, and I always kept it in there from the very first day. And it's like, yeah, you look and it fluctuates, but over time you see it keep going up, whereas the last couple of years, everybody's like, oh, we should be making more. We should, like, no, you have to give time for these things to work themselves out. That's how real life works and companies work.
Yeah. I mean, how many flashes in the pan have we seen, right? It's crazy. And it is, it's completely a hype world. I'm very interested by how I'm always fascinated by how we're manipulated by the media. And by the way, mainstream media and alternative media, both. They're both, everybody's got an agenda, right? And so you got to stick with the basics. And Eric, I'm really proud and thankful that you've come on board. And you're not only invested once, but twice, possibly a third time. And I can tell you that is, nothing makes me feel better than to know we have that kind of support. So, Eric, I want to thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's great. I'm glad to be aboard. So yeah, I was thrilled when I got the chance to talk to Ken, and he is like the thing that I think really kind of also wanted me to get into this was just his vast amount of knowledge, and like you said, he can really present in a down to earth way that everybody understands it, and really kind of dig into some of those details. And sometimes you get into investment, you think, okay, yeah, I know your profits are supposed to be this, but I mean, he can really talk to the product and the vision and everything. And I really appreciate that, because I know that that's an asset in itself to have him on board. So,
no, he's probably, the first among equals. He's of all the people that I work with here in the company, he's super key and extremely valuable. And, well, of course, he'll hear this and blush, but I'm glad to hear that. I'll let him stay with the company for a couple more months.
Yeah, I think he's doing all right. So yeah, plus you need someone else to join you at the end of those, those briefings for the final 5 minutes. So
freestyle interview. Yeah,
freestyle. Yep.
Well, thank you very much again, and I wish you very happy holidays, and let's have a wonderful 2023 together.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and look forward to great things.
Thank you, Eric.